Very good morning, everyone. This is Dr. Sanket Charkha from Savitribai Phule Pune University, Sinhagar Institutes. We have started with the second chapter, which is dealing with, or which is with respect to utility and demand analysis. Before we understand utility and demand analysis, to give you a brief overview, we have studied what is the concept of economics from the perspectives of the economics, which has been defined by Professor Lionel Robbins and Alfred Marshall and Thickettle. Then we have seen what is microeconomics, what is macroeconomics, and we have understood what is the concept of managerial economics. Then considering going with the second perspectives, we have seen about what are the different trade theories with respect to theories that have been given by Williamson, Semen, Herbert, and so on. Now we have seen what is the definition of the demand analysis. That the two definitions have been given by Benham and G.L. Thickettle, and the effective demand requires. So what does an effective demand requires with respect to the desire, means to purchase, and what is the willingness to use that particular product. Objectives of demand analysis: demand forecasting, production planning, sales forecasting, control on business factors, inventory, short-term and long-term growth, and economic planning. Then we have seen what are the various different types of demand that are into existence: individual or market, firm or industry, autonomous or derived, durable or non-durable, short-term or long-term, joint or composite, direct or indirect, total market or segmented market demand. Determinants of market demand: we have specifically focused one complete lecture on this particular concept, that is understanding what are the various determinants, or what are the various factors on which the market demand for an individual product is being identified or it differs. With respect to the price of product, the income of consumer, the taste and preferences, advertisement, consumer expectations, the growth of population, weather conditions, tax rates, availability of credit, pattern of savings, circulation of money, and lastly, the price of related goods. Who is there? Bhushan. Then we have started with the new concept that is called as a law of demand. Law of demand, wherein there is an inverse relationship between the quantity demanded and change in price. So as and when the quantity demanded increases or decreases, it also changes with the concept of the changes in the price factor. Or as and when the price of a particular product increases or decreases, accordingly the quantity demanded for a particular product increases or decreases. So always there is an inverse relationship between those two factors. Definition, that is the specific law of demand that has been provided by according to Marshall. The full name is Dr. Alfred Marshall. The amount or quantity demanded increases with the fall in price and diminishes with the rise in price, other things remaining the same. So all other factors has to be always remaining in constant stage, and accordingly when they are constant, and only then the law of demand can be identified or it can be valued for. Now moving with the assumptions to the law of demand. The law of demand is based on a certain assumptions, and those assumptions, if they have been fulfilled, only then the valuation of a particular product, whether a demand is increasing or whether the demand is increasing, can be identified or can be studied for. First thing, income level should remain constant. So whatever income level is there of that particular people, that is, whether if your income is rupees 5 lakhs, then accordingly for a period of time, that is, if you are calculating the law of demand for around 3 months, for 6 months, for 1 year, or for 5 years, the income level of the people must remain stable in the particular economy. Taste of the buyer should not change. So accordingly, there should not be change in the taste, habits, preferences of an individual, and accordingly the taste, habits, and preferences of the buyers who are purchasing those products. So whatever product that you are purchasing for, everything must remain same, and accordingly it must be identified about how the taste of the buyer is changing. So if the taste of the buyer is not changing, then he will be regularly or frequently and over a period of time continuously purchasing that particular product, and accordingly there will be a stabilized demand for that particular product. Now if the taste of the buyer is changing, then accordingly what will be the concern of the situation? You cannot identify about what changes can be identified, what changes are taking place in terms of demand that is to be calculated. Price of the other goods should remain constant. So at this stage we have to identify that the price of the other goods, that is the competitors' prices, must also remain same, or it must also remain constant. That is, if your product is offered at rupees 100, then accordingly other products must be also offered at rupees 100 or nearby, that is rupees 98 or rupees 102 or 105 accordingly. So in this case, the price of the other goods, so either a substitute that is available to your product or the prices of your respective competitors must also be remaining same, and it must remain constant, that is within that particular range only. no new substitute is introduced. So whenever your product is been ruling into the particular market, and when you are calculating or applying the assumptions of the law of demand, there should be no additional substitute that has been introduced into that particular market. So that particular additional substitute, what will be the concern? Because if you are calculating the law of demand, or if you are implementing the law of demand for your product, then based on this particular concern, if a particular substitute is been introduced, then accordingly the market demand for a particular product gets shifted from one product to another product. Now, for example, you want to purchase a mineral water bottle, and accordingly, when you go for a purchase of mineral water bottle, and if a specific brand is not available, and if another brand of a product is available for you, then what happen? You switch to that particular product. So there should not be availability of a substitute. There should not be an availability of the competitor's product, based on which the demand for your product is being changed from one person or one product to another product. Substitute, for example, when if you are thirsty, and at this stage, whenever we are thirsty, the first product that we demand is, we demand water, that is a mineral water, which is been required whenever you are traveling. Now at this stage, if water is not available, and if certain cold drinks are available, then what happen? We switch our consumption from mineral water, that is a soft water, to the cold drink water. And accordingly, in this case, the substitute, if it has been introduced, then we can understand that the assumptions of law of demand cannot be identified. So in order to identify what is the demand for the mineral water, there should not be availability of any other competitor product, or there should also not be availability of any other substitute, that is a closed substitute to the particular product. So now whenever we are thirsty, what do we demand? We demand something in liquid form. So that particular liquid form, which is only the characteristics of a certain water, only that must be consumed, and other products must not be consumed when we are applying or when we are calculating the law of demand for a particular product. Substitution also is a particular concern, wherein if it has been introduced in the particular market, it must be introduced in a gradual phase or in a step-by-step method. All of a sudden, a particular product must not be introduced to a particular customers, and they must not be offered about what the feasibility or what comfortability can be provided by that particular product. Same case, the substitute that has been also been into, if it has been introduced, there should not be availability of a substitute. But if it is not been, but in case if it has been introduced, then the price of that particular product must also be remaining same, and accordingly there should be a effective or proper competition into the market also. No future price rise is to be expected. So for a particular period or a specific time duration, whenever you are calculating the law of demand, or whenever law of demand has to be estimated, then at this stage, for that particular period point of time, that is during that period, that is if you are calculating law of demand for example for 3 months or for 6 months, then during that period also and post that period also, there should not be an expectation of the future rise in this particular product. Now, for example, the price of sugar as on today is rupees 40 per kg. Now, if the price of sugar is rupees 40 per kg as on today, and it is expected that in future there will be an excessive production or there will be low production, and due to this concern, the price of sugar may increase. So if the price of sugar is expected to increase in future, that is it becomes 50 rupees per kg, then what the particular customers will do, if they are having a requirement of 5 kg of sugar, then accordingly they will require or they will demand 7 kgs, they will demand 8 kgs, they will demand 10 kgs of sugar. So in this case, what we are doing for, or what we are expecting, that the law of demand also expects or also take into consideration, or it is also based on a certain assumption that there must be no change in the prices in future. Take a current example, that is as on today, we have the petrol prices that have been regulated, that is 98 rupees or 100 rupees per liter. Now, if it is been now recently, we have a meeting with finance minister, we have a meetings that is with the chief ministers of the states and the prime minister. Now, in this particular concern or in the international market, if the crude oil prices are supposed to be increased, or if there are certain changes in the taxation policy, then we get a certain assumption, we get a certain projections that the price of fuel may increase. That is, the crude oil per barrel may also increase, and accordingly, the rate of petrol prices in the market will also increase. Now, what we are looking for, we are just focusing on one perspective. We are just focusing on one perspective, that the price of petrol, the price of crude oil may increase. And when it will be increasing, that is around 5th of March, they are expected to rise. Now, if it has been expected that in future, that is at 5th of March, if the price are expected to rise, then what will be the concern? Today, as on this particular day, what we'll do, we'll start consuming more of that particular product, and we'll start to store the product that is made available. So if the petrol is available at rupees 100 per liter today, then what we'll do, if our consumption is for example 1 liter, then accordingly we will purchase 2 liters, accordingly we'll purchase 3 liters, and a stock of commodity, stock of goods will be maintained. So the demand cannot be identified, the demand cannot be expected, that is per day demand if you want to identify. That is on 20th of February, what quantity of petrol was been consumed. On 1st of March, what quantity of petrol was been consumed, and accordingly, if you want to identify, then future rise expectations will give a certain consideration about how a particular demand has to be specific and how it has to be measured. Why? Because on 20th of February, the demand for a particular petrol was, for example, 1000 liters. But on 1st of March, whenever we came to a certain conclusion, whenever we get the information that the price of this particular petrol is expected to increase, then what people are doing in opposition to this particular concern, in order to save their money, that is 5 rupees or 3 rupees or 2 rupees, what they will do, they will start consuming more of that particular product. And for 1st of March, that is at the end of the day, that is at the night 12 p.m., what will be the price of that, what will be the quantity demanded? The quantity earlier it was 1000 liters, now it becomes 2000 liters. Why? Because automatically a certain change in the policies, a certain change in the price of the particular commodity is based on a certain assumption that the particular consumer feels, and accordingly more product is been demanded. So all the assumptions must be fulfilled, and only when the assumptions are been fulfilled, then only we can say that a product is been conducting very effectively, and accordingly the law of demand can be made applicable. Demand schedule or demand function specifically focuses on two perspectives, that is an individual demand schedule and a market demand schedule. Individual demand schedule is specifically concerned with a particular person, that is an individual consumption. That is the food, clothing and shelter requirement of an individual for a specific period, for a specific time duration, that is a single day or a month or a particular year. And whenever you are calculating the demand for a single person or an individual person, that will be called as an individual demand schedule. Market demand schedule, market demand focuses on the concept of people at large or a public at large, wherein many number of participants are available at this stage, and the calculation of the market demand of the entire population or the entire society is taken into consideration. So that is the functioning of my individual demand and the market demand. Then we have also understood what is the concept of demand curve. So here we can see if the price is decreasing. So if the price is decreasing, accordingly, the quantity demanded in units or the quantity consumed in units also starts increasing. So earlier, if the price is rupees 50 and it reduces to 40 to ultimately to 10, then accordingly the quantity demanded also increases from 2 to 10. So in this way, as the price decreases, the amount of quantity demanded also increases. Why demand curve slopes downward? So we have seen various effects with respect to why the demand curve is sloping downward. That is income effect, substitution effect, new consumer creating demand, law of diminishing marginal utility, price effect, different income groups, different uses, and unsatisfied wants. So due to this concern, the demand curve is always sloping downward. Now coming with the major perspective, that is exceptions to the law of demand. So what are the various exceptions in which the law of demand cannot be made applicable and it is not coming into consideration? So first thing is the conspicuous goods. Conspicuous goods are those type of goods wherein we cannot identify, we cannot predict about what will be the change in the quantity demanded, what will be the change in the amount of product that has been manufactured. So always the type of goods which are of a daily purpose or which are of a necessity concern, so that particular goods are of a certain concern, wherein we have to identify, we have to see that the law of demand does not apply for those concern. Giffen's paradox. Now Giffen's paradox is relating with a concept of quality of goods that has been provided. So a particular quality of goods, whether it is having a good quality or whether it is having a bad quality, a particular consumer will prefer only those products which are suitable to according to his quality, and whether the product increases or whether the product pricing decreases, there will be no impact. Hello. Yes, any question?
No, sir.
Okay. So whether the price of the product or price of commodity increases or decreases, then accordingly we can identify about what is the concern of the pricing and the demand that has been correlational. Now Giffen's paradox also states a certain concern about, take an example, that is a particular family. Now a particular family having an income, annual income of rupees 50 lakhs, and they are looking for a purchase of of a certain car which is specifically with respect to Audi or Mercedes. Now, whenever this particular product is being offered for you for a particular sale, then based on your income level, what you will do, you have a certain perception, you have a certain desire, you have a certain willingness that I want to purchase this car only. Now, whether the price of that particular commodity, that is whether the price of Audi, the price of the Audi may, whether it may increase to 25 lakhs, whether it may go to 30 lakhs, whether it may go to for 35 or 40 lakhs, their demand will not change. Why? Because they have a certain specific product, they have a specific income level, and they want to spend that particular product only. Now, depending on their standard of living, depending on their habitat, depending on their culture, what they are looking for, they are looking for a very specific product. Now, if you are looking for a specific product with a specific association with a specific brand, then what will be the concern? Your demand will not change. Your demand will be same for that particular product only. Take another person. Now another person, a particular family having an income of rupees 10 lakhs, and if they are looking for a certain for the same product, that is an Audi car costing rupees 25,000 or 25 lakhs to 40 lakhs, and accordingly if they are looking for the same car and if their income capacity is not applicable, then what they will do, that is their income level is 10 lakhs and the price of the product is rupees 30 lakhs, then it is not affordable. Whether they are going for a loan or an EMI perspectives, they will not have a certain perspective to repay that particular amount. Why? Because the bank will not sanction the loan that you are going to take. So in this case, what is the situation and what is the concern? The Giffen's paradox applies at this stage. So a particular person having a specific demand for a specific product or a specific commodity based on the standard of living or based on this income level, then accordingly the Giffen paradox continues to provide that particular product. But a particular customer whose already income level is low, and if the product is not affordable for him, then what he will do? He will come down to his origin and accordingly he will look for a particular product which is applicable only within his particular range. So the car costing rupees 4 lakhs or 5 lakhs or 6 lakhs or 7 lakhs, in that particular category he will only identify, and accordingly those products will be purchased. Exception to the law of demand with respect to necessity of life. So necessity of life means with the basic essential requirements. So what are the basic essential needs of or requirements of a particular consumer or a particular person? That is food, clothing, and shelter. So these three types of product that have been demanded or that have been required. Now, food and clothing are the essential requirements. Shelter is a particular concern wherein it depends on the availability, it depends on the capability of a particular person. That is, where do he want to stay? Whether he wants to stay in his own residential flat or whether he wants to hire or rent a particular flat. So accordingly, his necessity depends or his locality also depends. But in terms of food and clothing, it is a basic essential requirement, and a particular person does not change its consumption as and when it is been required. Now exceptions to now how does it apply? Now yesterday, I'll give a simple example. That is, yesterday there was a birthday of Mr. Bhushan. Now, whenever this particular birthday of Bhushan was being identified, it is a certain necessity that as a friendly relationship, we want to celebrate the birthday of Mr. Bhushan. Now, whenever this particular birthday celebration came into existence, what happened? There is a necessity that we want to conduct a certain activity out of a certain gratitude or out of a certain friendship purpose. Everyone was coming forward and they were trying to wish Mr. Bhushan, that is, or greeting him. Now, over a period of time, one person, that is Mr. Ganesh, came forward and he went to a particular shop, that is Monginis. Now, when he approached Monginis, what happened? He identified different types of varieties of cakes that was been displayed. A particular cake costing rupees 200, a particular cake costing rupees 250, a particular cake costing rupees 350, a cake costing rupees 1000, and so on. So now identify the necessity of life. So this particular occasion, this particular concern, that is celebration of a particular birthday of a certain person, is a necessity for you and you have to do this activity. So what is the case now? Whether the product costing is rupees 200, 250, 300, 500 or 1000, you have to purchase this particular product only, and accordingly you are going to purchase it. So whether the price, now here what does the law of demand says? Whether the price is increasing or whether the price is decreasing, whether the income is affordable, whether the income is not affordable, whether the product can be purchased or it cannot be purchased, it is a concern, it is a necessity, it is a certain need, and accordingly you go and purchase that particular product. So it creates a necessity of life. Another concern, another lady, that is Miss Shilpa, she came forward and she was throwing a party to Mr. Bush, and accordingly she went to Pizza Hut. So whenever accordingly she went to the Pizza Hut, and that at that location she identified various brands of pizzas are available, various rates are available, and according alternative with the pizza also there are different products that have been displayed. So what happened? Based on the need, based on the requirement, based on the occasion. Now, for example, if the party is longing for around 1 hour, so for 1 hour, the consumption of the food was being undertaken. Accordingly, everyone was being satisfied. But after a period of time, if the party continues for around 4 hours, 5 hours, 6 hours, then after 6 hours, again, the food, that is the hunger, is being generated. And again, you start consuming those products. So here, the law of demand is not applied. Whether there is a need, whether there is a necessity, based on the requirement of that particular time, you start consuming those particular product, and accordingly, you purchase that particular product. Or I'll take another example, that is Another person, that is Mr. Soham. Now, Mr. Soham is a particular person. Again, he was also looking for celebration of celebrating of birthday of Mr. Bhushan. And accordingly, what happened? He went to a particular store. Now, at that particular store, what happened? Mr. Soham was expecting to purchase a cake or a cake of rupees 500, but at that particular store, the cake costing rupees 500 was not available, and the cake costing of rupees either 300 or either rupees 800 or 1000 was available. So at this stage, being a friendly relationship, what you are looking for, your budget was rupees 500, but the availability of a cake or availability of that particular product is only rupees 300, then you will curtail down your expenses, and accordingly, based on the need, based on the requirement, based on the necessity of that particular product, you will purchase that particular product only. This was the example of an standard of living or an expressly product. Now, concern a particular situation, a particular person who is staying on a footpath or a particular roadside, or a particular person who is living a normal life. Now, if the pricing of this particular product, that is a purchase of bread and butter. Now, a particular person always remaining or surviving on a bread or butter, that he daily he purchases a particular packet of bread or a particular vada pav and so on. Accordingly, he consumes those products. Now, whether the price of the product increases or decreases, that is a particular packet of bread costing rupees 10, and tomorrow if the packet of bread is increased to rupees 11. Now, at this stage, whether the price of the product is increasing or whether the price of product is decreasing, his quantity of consumption will be same. It is not going to change. So here at this stage, law of demand does not apply. That is, if the price is decreasing, his consumption will remain same, and accordingly, the consumption, that is his daily requirement for a particular for a period, that is for around 24 hours, is one packet of bread, and he will be consuming only that amount of quantity. Why? Because based on his standard of living, based on his income level, and so on. Now, next thing, conspicuous necessity. Now, conspicuous necessity. Now, here the differentiation between the product that is being offered, for differentiation between the standard of living. Now, you may have a certain example, that is Mr. Ganesh. Mr. Ganesh took a certain, that is took Mr. Bhushan to a certain party at a certain local restaurant. Miss Darshana was also throwing a party. She took to Mr. Bhushan at a certain different restaurant. Mr. Sumeg was available. He went to Hyatt Residency, and accordingly, the party was thrown at that location. Another person, Mr. Dada, was also available. He went to Taj Hotel, and accordingly the party was thrown at that particular place. So in this case, what we are looking for, based on the conspicuous necessity, based on the standard of living of people, the law of demand is made applicable, and accordingly you start consuming those products. So what thing is available for you, what thing is applicable, what thing is affordable for you, based on this concern, you start consuming those products, and accordingly the necessity is been supplied and the need is been fulfilled. Future expectations of prices. So if you are expecting that the price that is the rise in the prices of this in future, then accordingly law of demand fails. So according to the assumption that is made available, so what was the assumption in terms of law of demand? That the price of the product must not change over a period of time. And if the price of the product is changing over a period of time, then accordingly what can be a concern or what can be a situation that your law of demand fails, and accordingly the consumer starts purchasing only those products which are of their certain need. And if they are expecting that the price may rise, then accordingly more amount of quantity of product may be demanded, and accordingly the law of demand may fail at this particular stage. Another concern and another concern at this stage we have is the concept of impulsive purchase. Now, impulsive purchase is the particular concern wherein, based on a certain influence, based on the certain word of mouth, or based on certain listening, based on the certain skill sets of marketing that has been applied, you start purchasing those products, whether it is affordable for you or whether it is not affordable for you. Now, taking the same example or continuing, that is Mr. Soham, when he went to that particular cake store, that is for delivery of a particular cake. Now, at this stage, what happened? When Mr. Soham went to that particular store, accordingly, he found out his budget was rupees 500 only for purchasing a cake. That is for celebration of birthday of Mr. Bhushan. Now, a particular friend was accompanying with him, and the particular name of the particular friend is, who is there? Prashil. Now, Mr. Prashil is the friend of Mr. Soham, and when they went to that particular store, what happened? Over a period of time, whenever they were watching different products, accordingly, Mr. Prashil gave a certain suggestion that don't purchase the cake of 500. The cake costing rupees 700 or 750 is quite better. The taste is also quite better, and accordingly, this product will be beneficial, or this product will be good for everyone, and Mr. Bhushan will like that particular quantity or that particular product. So accordingly, based on certain impulsion, so if a particular influence has been created for you, if a certain suggestion is given for you, you change your purchase decision, and accordingly the law of demand has been is been failing at this particular stage. So if a particular person is influencing you, if a particular person is guiding you, or if a particular certain person is trying to convince you to purchase some another product, then the demand for that particular in a specific product which you are looking for gets decreased, and accordingly the customer changes or switches his decision from purchasing one product to another product. Ignorance effect. Now, ignorance effect is a particular concern wherein you are specifically looking for a particular product, but you are tempting or you are willing or you're purposely switching from one product to another product. Why? Because earlier you have purchased one product and now you don't want to purchase that particular product again, and you want to switch your product decision from one product to another product. That is, earlier you are purchasing the clothes of a certain specific brand, but what happened after a period from that is after 6 months or after 1 year, we usually change the brand of product that we are using for purchase of shoes. Now shoes, sandal, chappals are certain type of product wherein we purchase a certain style of a particular product or a style of a certain commodity at a very specific level, and whenever that particular level is been achieved, whenever certain satisfaction level is achieved, we ignore that earlier product that we have purchased, and accordingly we start purchasing our new product. Now, whenever you purchased a certain clothes as on today, now you will be using this particular clothes for around 3 months or maximum of 6 months. But after this particular point of time, what you will do, you will start ignoring that particular product, and after 6 months, you will be purchasing new clothes with new design, new fashion, new trends, and so on. So accordingly, ignorance effect with respect to a certain concern is of a certain origin, wherein the law of demand cannot be made applicable, and accordingly, the product is being switched from one level to another level. Outdated goods. Outdated goods are those type of product wherein there is no demand for this particular product, and accordingly it is thrown out of that particular market. Now, for example, a simple example, that is purchase of Nokia cell phones of that keypad. Now, today, as on this particular stage, we do not purchase, or no one is going to purchase the keypad phone which was been introduced or which was been launched by Nokia, and everyone is looking for a certain concern wherein maximum number of customers are demanding for smartphones. Smartphone costing rupees 5,000, 10,000, 50,000, 1 lakh, and so on. The various range of the product are available for you, and accordingly, if the goods becomes outdated, then there is no demand for this particular product. So accordingly, the law of demand applies to a certain product which are regularly routing or which are regularly applicable and purchased into the market, and accordingly, if the product is not applicable, if the product is not ruling, then accordingly, law of demand does not apply at this stage. Now, variations in demand curve. So DC stands for the demand curve. So why the demand curve is shifting? So here at this stage, we can identify, or we can see that at every stage or every point of time. Hello. Yes, any question? Okay, variations in demand curve. Now, the demand curve, variations in demand curve is identified by two factors, that is momentum curve and shift in curve. So always the demand curve is shifting from one place to another place, or the demand curve is moving from one place to another place. A further classification of moment in demand curve is divided into two categories, that is extension in demand and contraction in demand, and shift in demand curve is identified with respect to increase in demand or decrease in demand. So both the factor, that is the quantity demanded and the price of that particular product, is of a certain concern wherein it is changing over a period of time, and based on the changes, what we have to do, we have to identify which type of variation is applicable in this particular demand. So whether it is called as an extension demand, or whether it is called as an contraction demand, or whether it is called as an increase in demand, or whether it is called as an decrease in demand. Now consider this particular slide. Based on certain assumptions, we have identified what are the various examples of either extension in demand or contraction, or increase in demand or decrease in demand. Now extension in demand. So here, earlier what was given was, or what was been given for you, that the price of the product remains same. So at every stage, what we are looking for, one factor is always constant. So what is that one factor that remains constant? Is the price of that particular product, which is at a decreasing stage. So always law of demand specifically focuses on a certain concern, specifically focuses on a certain concept, which is, that is the price of the particular product always decreases. So if there is a decrease in price, then accordingly what happened, the quantity demanded either increases or decreases. So here, extension in demand. So what happened, the demand is extensioning or increasing at a certain level or at a certain stage, which can be identified at a certain position. So here, at the rate of rupees 50, the quantity demanded was quantity demanded is 2 units, and the quantity demanded remains 2 same. There is no change. But how? Now look at the certain perspective, that is gradually, step by step, the demand is in extension level. That is at the rate of rupees 40, the quantity demand is 4 and now becomes 5. At the rate of rupees 30, standardized rate is 6 and accordingly the revised rate becomes 8. At the price of rupees 20, there is the value is rupees 8, the quantity demanded is 8 and accordingly the quantity demanded increases to 9. So what we are looking for, step by step, gradually the product is increasing and accordingly the extension in demand is taken into consideration. Contraction in demand. Now here at this stage, in the second example of the second box, that is contraction in demand, at this concern, what it is happening, the price of the product is always decreasing and the quantity demanded is also decreasing at that particular stage only. So here it is called as a contraction in demand. So what are the various factors? Now the factors with respect to the earlier in the last slide we have seen with respect to exceptions to law of demand. So based on a certain exception, based on the certain control of the demand factors, what happened? The law of demand keeps the demand curve keeps on shifting or changing from one place to another place. So quantity demanded is 2, 4, 5, 7 and 9. So in this case, there is a contraction in demand. Now always, now here at this stage also, increase or decrease in demand. Now at this stage, the quantity demanded for a particular product in case of increase or decrease in demand may either increase to a greater extent or may increase to a rational or proportional extent. Now here in this case, 2 to 3, we can see that at only one level the product is increasing. 4 to 5, only one level. 6 to 7, one level. 8 to 9, one level. 10 to 11, at only one single commodity, at only one single level, the product price is increasing. But in case of 4 to 5, 6 to 8 here, now sometimes what may happen, sometimes there may be a certain concern or certain situation that the demand for a particular product may increase at a very rapid stage. So accordingly, that is from directly to the 6. Now here, in case of increase in demand, what is the concern? It has only increased to 1% and accordingly here it can increase to 20% or a certain percentage. So here in this case, there is a slight difference between extension in demand and slight difference between increase in demand. Increase in demand is always gradual according to the alignment of the quantity demanded, and accordingly in case of contraction extension in demand, the contraction is of a certain position but at a certain level or at a certain price there is a sudden rise in the quantity that is demanded. Now in this case, in case of decrease in demand, in case of decrease, what happened? The decrease also is also certain gradual, but accordingly what is the concern? Accordingly there is a certain perception, a certain point wherein a sudden fall in the price can be seen at a certain point of time. So ultimately what can be, now here what you can see, that is 2, 4 and 4, 4 and accordingly 2, 1 and 4, 3. So accordingly if the price has been decreasing, if there is a maximum price, the quantity demanded will be very less, and if a slight change in the price or the slight percentage decrease in the price, accordingly gradual decrease in the quantity demanded is also there at this particular position. So in this case, there is a correlation between extension in demand and increase in demand, and contraction in demand and decrease in demand. Now moving with the next concept, which is called as an elasticity of demand. So elasticity of demand means change in the demand that has been identified. So at every stage what we are looking for, there is always change in the product, there is always change in the quantity demanded, there is always change in the price that has been regulating or ruling into the market. So elasticity of demand is a certain concept or a certain perception that is based on which factors the product demand increases or decreases. So there are major 4 factors that has to be identified, and based on those 4 factors only, the price of the product or the price of the commodity or the income, cross elasticity and advertisement and promotion are the 4 factors based on which the demand for a particular product either increases or decreases, which may be also called as an extension in demand or contraction in demand. So for elasticity of demand we have, first is the price elasticity, income elasticity, cross elasticity and elasticity based on the advertisement and promotion. First concept, that is price elasticity of demand, that is percentage change in the quantity demanded divided by percentage change in price. So here first thing that we have to identify is that is what is the percentage change in quantity demanded. So here in this slide you can identify that is 2 and 2. So there is no change. 4 and 5. So what is the percentage? So earlier the quantity demanded was 4, now it becomes 5. So what percentage of that is now what percentage of price is increasing, or what percentage of price is decreasing, and what percentage of quantity is decreasing or either increasing. Now here in this case we can say that quantity demanded increases, but here in this case we can say quantity demanded is also increasing, and here quantity demanded is also increasing. So here in this case, whether actually the quantity demanded is either increasing or decreasing, that must be very clear for you, and accordingly you have to identify what is the price elasticity that has been associated. So percentage change in quantity demanded divided by percentage change in price. So two factors, always two correlational we have to take into consideration. Further, the price elasticity of demand is divided into 5 categories or further into 5 types. Perfectly elastic demand, perfectly inelastic demand, unitary elastic demand, and inelastic price elasticity of demand. So here, perfectly elastic demand, that is which is equal to infinity. In your different reference, now for this particular concern, we are not in the classroom, so I cannot show you on board with respect to what are the various diagrams that can be associated, but you can refer various reference books, and from those books you can identify, or you can see that particular graph or pictures which clearly identifies about what is the price elasticity of demand, wherein there is a perfect elastic, the demand is perfectly elastic with respect to percentage change in quantity demanded and percentage change in price. So always it is ruling with the concept of infinite nature. Perfectly inelastic demand, the perfectly inelastic demand wherein the quantity percentage change in quantity demand and percentage change in price is always equal to 0. That is, there is no change at this particular stage and always there is no correlation. So here we can see, or where we can say that there is no maximum change, there is no maximum origination or difference between what is the value that has been calculated with respect to demand and quantity that has been there into existence. Unitary elastic demand, that is the price elasticity, is equal to 1. So earlier in case of perfectly inelastic, the price elasticity was equal to 0. Now in case of unitary elastic, it is a positive assertion wherein it is always equal to 1. So here, whenever the price elasticity is greater than 1, so here at this stage 10 and 11. So accordingly, if the price is also earlier, if the price is decreasing, then accordingly the quantity is also increasing. Here at every stage, what we are looking for, what we are seeing, that the quantity demanded is also increasing simultaneously. Now, what is that particular percentage? That percentage you have to calculate, that your percentage you have to identify, and based on those concerns, we have to identify whether it is equal to 1, or in case of elastic demand, whether it is less than 1, or whether in case of inelastic demand, it is greater than, sorry, it is greater than 1 or it is less than 1. So a value which is wherein a particular value is greater than 1, then it is called as an elastic demand, that is, and whenever the value is less than 1, then it is called as an perfectly inelastic demand. Now, what are the various determinants of price elasticity? Based on which consideration or based on which prohibitions, the determination or the changes in the price elasticity can be identified or it can be calculated. First thing, availability of substitutes. So if a lot many or many number of substitutes are available for your particular product, then accordingly based on those concerns, your price elasticity changes. So a particular competitor, what he may do, he may increase or decrease the price of the respective product, and based on the increase or decrease in the price of that particular product, the demand for a particular product may change over a period of time. That is, you went to a particular shop and accordingly you identified two products. Now, when those two particular products was been identified, what do? You are in a certain confusing state about which product has to be purchased or which brand of product has to be purchased. But if a particular substitute is available for you, which is available at a lower price, then what a particular consumer will do, he will purchase the product which is of the same quality, same attributes, same preferences, but at a lower price. Then accordingly, the availability of substitute gets the demand switch from one product to another product. So earlier, if you are trying to purchase a specific product and if a particular substitute is available for you, then accordingly, based on the price elasticity, that is, a price is less for a particular product, then accordingly you switch your purchase decision from one product to another product. Position of commodity in budget. So if your budget has been changing or if your budget is flexible, then accordingly the price elasticity of that particular product is also been changing. Now that is Mr. Soham. Mr. Soham went to that particular shop and accordingly his budget was only 500 rupees for purchasing a cake for for celebration of birthday of Mr. Bhushan. Now, in the over period of time, what happened? A certain concern, Mr. Prashil came forward and he gave a certain suggestion that of a cake costing rupees 500, not 500, but 800 must be purchased. So, if the budget is increasing, then accordingly, what happened? Now, at this stage, what he is looking for, he is trying to increase his budget, and accordingly, the price elasticity is greater than 1. So, here what we can see or what we can identify, that is unitary elastic. If the product is your budget was rupees 500 and the cake available was also of rupees 500, then your elasticity is equal to 1. Your budget was rupees 500, but you have purchased the product of rupees 800, then the elasticity is greater than 1. So a higher costing product is available for you, and accordingly you purchased a product of rupees 800. So here elasticity is greater than 1. So that is the consumption, that is the position of commodity in the budget. So if the product is available in respect to your budget only, and if the budget increases, accordingly the quantity demanded also increases and the product is being switched from one product to another product. nature of need that commodity is satisfied. So what is the basic essential need that is being satisfying? So at this stage, the price elasticity either increases or decreases. Now consider a particular situation. Now unitary elastic, the budget of Mr. Soham to purchase a cake was rupees 500, and accordingly after a point of time but the particular store manager says that I don't have a cake of rupees costing rupees 500, but I have a cake costing rupees 300 or rupees 350 or rupees 400. Now here in this case, what happened? In elasticity is greater than 1. So your elasticity, your expectation, your price or budget or price consideration was rupees 500, but the product is not available in that particular range. And accordingly, what do? You curtail your expenses, you reduce your expenses, and accordingly you purchase a particular product which is less than your budget. So if the elasticity is decreased, if the benefit of that particular product is decreased from one level to another level, then accordingly we can say or we can identify that the determinants of price elasticity with respect to nature of need that commodity satisfies. Now what was your purpose? Your purpose is just to celebrate the birthday of Mr. Bhushan, and for the celebration of birthday, what do you need? You need a specific cake. Now for this particular concern only, we are looking for a certain product or a certain commodity, and if that commodity is satisfied and if the satisfaction level is below the elasticity, your elasticity level was rupees 500, and if the elasticity level is been satisfied at rupees 400, then accordingly the price elasticity can be identified and it can be assumed whether there is an increased or decreased price elasticity. Number of uses to be put. Now there are certain types of product wherein there are multiple uses of that particular product, and based on the certain multiple uses, the price elasticity of that particular product changes or differs. Now a particular water bottle. Now whenever you purchase a water bottle, what certain few people do? They consume the water and accordingly they throw that bottle immediately. What another person may do, the another person may carry that particular bottle, he may keep into his bag, and accordingly he may again refill that particular bottle for a consumption that can be used after a point of time or for tomorrow purpose. He went to his home and accordingly he can fill or he can refill that particular bottle with water also. He can refill the bottle or he can refill that particular bottle with milk also. He can refill that particular bottle with sanitizer. He can refill that particular bottle with a sand or anything or a certain decorative purpose, and accordingly he can display it in his showroom also. So accordingly different product can be used for a different purposes or different positions. So in this way, we have to identify what is the price elasticity of that particular product, in what way or in what different senses the particular product can be put to use, and how we are trying to consume that particular product accordingly. Possibility of positioning the consumption. So in what way you are positioning your consumption, that is the consumption is either immediate or the consumption is either after several point of time, that is at another level. So a particular product may be consumed immediately or a particular product may be consumed after point of time. So in this way your price elasticity is either increasing or decreasing. Now for example, if you are thirsty, now whenever we say we are thirsty or we are hungry, what do? We consume maximum number of quantity of the food or water that is been required. But if you are not thirsty, if you are not hungry, then what do? We take just a sample, we just eat a little bit of that particular consumption, and accordingly the price elasticity is been changing or the quantity demanded is been changing as per our need and as per our requirement. Joint demand. So joint demand is a particular concern wherein with the help of a single product, a certain another product has to be purchased, and accordingly based on those particular concern, a joint demand is being created. Now a joint demand for a particular mobile phone or a cell phone. Now if you are purchasing a cell phone, now based on this particular concern, cell phone is your basic essential requirement to communicate from one person to with another person. Now if you want to communicate, what do you need to do? You need to have that particular battery charged. Now in order to charge your battery, what do you need? You need an external device, that is an external charger, and based on those particular concern only the phone can be activated or it can be into operational mode. So for this particular concern, the basic essential product was your cell phone that you are purchasing, that is the handset, and the joint demand that has been created is the joint demand is of your charger or the Bluetooth devices, that is an external devices that you are using for your product. Consumer habit. If the consumer habits are changing over a period of time, then accordingly what do? Accordingly the price elasticity changes and accordingly the quantity demanded changes. Now example, for example, on his last birthday, Mr. Bhushan has said that last time you have purchased a cake of chocolate for me. Now this time I want to purchase or I want a cake of rose velvet. Now accordingly what happened? If the habit of the consumer keeps on changing, then accordingly based on the consumption pattern, based on the consumption of the consumer, based on the changes in the need, habit and taste preferences, the consumer keeps on demanding, consumer keeps on purchasing different products, and accordingly the quantity demanded, the product demanded, or the price of the product also differs from one person to another person. tight demand, not tight demand and contingent joint demand is also one and the same, but this particular product is getting associated with the different range of product that are there into existence. So a particular product may be available at a certain range and a particular product may not be affordable for you. So if you are looking for a product that is within your specific range, then you may consume that particular product. And if you are not, if the particular product is not affordable or applicable within your range, then you may not purchase that product. Price range, that is, if you are looking for a product that is between 500 to 600, then what is the major concern? That you have to look the product between 500 to 600 only, and not below that category and not above that category. So determinants of price elasticity specifically focuses in terms of prices also. So if you are looking for a specific brand, now in terms of brand association, that is, if you want a branded product, now based on the brand association, you have to look for a certain product which is of a branded nature, and you must be ready to pay that particular price. And if you are not looking for a certain branded product, then accordingly that particular product may not be affordable for you. Distribution of income. Distribution of income specifically focuses on what is the level of income distribution of different people. So different people may attempt to purchase different products, and accordingly, based on their distribution of the income level, their purchasing power, their quantity demanded keeps on changing. A particular person who is staying in a particular area or a certain category or class of people, his income level is, for example, rupees 2 lakhs. His requirement for sugar may be around 2 kgs to 5 kgs. A particular family having a income level of rupees 10 lakhs, their quantity demanded for a particular sugar may range from one quantity, that is one quantity to another quantity. A particular family having a particular person having a joint family, their income level may be different. Their requirement of a commodity or of that quantity may be different, and accordingly it keeps on changing over a period of time. Price elasticity with respect to time. Now, for example, if you want to purchase time, that is with respect to purchase of certain product which are of a seasonal nature. Now today you may not purchase umbrella, but that is, now if a particular person is giving you umbrella for rupees 10 also, you are not ready to purchase umbrella. Why? Because it is not a need, it is not a requirement. But in terms of rainy season, if the umbrella is costing rupees 200 or rupees 500 also, then everyone goes forward to that particular market, and accordingly the product is being demanded, the product is being purchased, whether the price is rupees 10, whether the price is rupees 50, or whether the price is rupees 200 or 500. So in this case, based on a certain need, based on a certain requirement. Sweater, that is a requirement of a certain sweater, blanket, jacket, and so on. Now, in terms of summer season, we don't use or we don't purchase certain types of commodity or certain types of goods, whether the price is falling or whether the price is at a lower level also. That is, earlier if you go to purchase a sweater, then the sweater is costing rupees 2000. Now, in the summer season, if the price of that particular commodity is reduced to rupees 500, but still will not purchase those products. Why? Because it is not a need, it is not a requirement of that particular time. But in case of winter season, everyone will go to that particular market, and accordingly the product will be purchased, whatever may be the price, whether the price is either increasing or whether the price is decreasing. So in this case, at every stage, we have to identify what are the various determinants with respect to price elasticity. So how the elasticity of the product with respect to the price consideration is been changing, and how it can be measured. Now, measurement of price elasticity. The price elasticity can be measured by different methods. So which are those methods? First thing is the total outlay method. Second is the proportionate method. Third is the joint method or the point method or the geometric method. Next is the arc method and revenue calculus method. Total outlay method, wherein you have a specific formula. So based on a certain formula calculation, you can find out about what quantity is been identified. So now here, for example, total outlay method. What is the price of the product? The price of the product is rupees from 50 to rupees 10. So it is a particular range. So between that particular range only, the product price has been identified, and it is called as a total outlay method. Total outlay method in terms of quantity. What is the quantity of product that has been demanded? The quantity of product is quantity demanded is 10 units. And what is the quantity demanded at rupees 10? At the quantity demanded is 50 units. So it is a concept or the consideration of total outlay method. Proportionate method, that is, it is specifically mentioned in terms of proportion or a certain percentage. That is, you are specifically mentioning about what is the percentage. So what is the percent? Now, if the earlier price was rupees 50, now the price becomes 40, then what do we say? That the price has been reduced by 20%. So in this case, proportionate method. So what proportion of price has been decreased? That is, earlier the price was rupees 50, now the price is 40. So 20% decrease in the price. Increase or decrease in the quantity. Earlier quantity demanded was quantity was 2 units. Now the quantity demanded is 4 units. So here what we can identify, that the quantity demanded has increased by 100%. So earlier it was 2%, 2, now it become 4. Now so there is an increase of 2 times increase in the quantity that has been demanded. point method or geometric method, wherein you use a certain graph, and based on this particular graph you identify a certain position that at which level the degree or degree of influence can be identified. So whether the demand curve is sloping upward, whether demand curve is sloping downward, whether there is an extension or contraction or movement in the demand curve, and accordingly so on, we identified based on a certain geometric concern. Arc method, that is you draw a certain arc. So that is a certain graph paper is being provided for you, and based on this that particular graph you either design or draw a certain arc. So based on that particular concern, an arc is being drawn and a particular identification or measurement of price elasticity can be done. Revenue calculus method specifically focuses on the concept of calculation of revenue or the profit that has been generated for a particular firm or an organization. So if a particular firm wants to purchase anything, then based on this particular concern, perception or the opinion, what do we look for? We look for a certain concern, that is what revenue is being generated. So major objective, either profit maximization or wealth maximization. Profit maximization, how it can be achieved? It can be achieved only when the quantity demanded increases and there is increase in the sales turnover. So if the sales or the turnover is been increasing, then accordingly we can say that the revenue is being generated for a particular company. Now this particular revenue, it may be either total revenue or it may be either marginal revenue. So what is total revenue? What is marginal revenue? We have already referred in chapter number 1. So revenue calculus method focuses specifically on calculation of your revenue, what amount of profit, what amount of sales is being generated, and how do you identify or benefit those products. Okay, that's all for today's lecture. We end here. Thank you so much everyone for joining.